the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Look, Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome on into the Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen here on a good old-fashioned, you want to call it a Reaction Monday?
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff. A lot
it's a happy
to react to.
Monday.
Yeah, a lot of good things to react to today. Aggies men's basketball coming away with the big win on Saturday. Advancing in the rankings, the AP poll rankings today, although some of the other metrics don't like the Aggies as much. A slight fall in some of them, but the AP poll says, well, you win, you go up. That's the rule.
Imagine that.
And actually, an absolutely thrilling win it was for the Aggies. It's hard to come up with a better ending to a game than that. And I guess maybe that's the question of the day. If you want to text in the Full Court Press text line, have you seen a better ending to a Utah State basketball game, especially at the Spectrum?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, how does that finish rank among some of the great games that have taken place in the Spectrum over the years? Now, it wasn't a ranked opponent that the Aggies beat, so I would still place that win over Nevada. Whoa, gosh, when was that? 12, 15 years ago when Nevada was ranked, when they were in the WAC together. I'd probably put that near the very top, if not the top. But certainly this was got to be in the top 5. Just a dramatic win, staying on top of the conference, staying in the top 25. There was drama, back and forth, clawing back from being down. It was fun. Just about everything you'd want and ask for in a game. Yeah,
just I get, as you said, everything you can ask for and maybe a little bit more, especially with that ending. And let's talk about this. Let's hear what it sounded like on KVNU. Scott Gerard on the call. Aggies down 2 points. You just had Boise State make their 14th three-pointer of the game, because why the heck not would a team that shoots 29% make 14 threes against the Aggies in the Spectrum? And the Aggies needed something, anything, with 7.9 seconds on the clock. Just got to get something. Nope, I don't know how to do this properly. That's because I didn't turn that dial up. Okay, take 2. Forget what I said. Now we're going.
Allen. Waiting for somebody to clear. Akano was open. Instead, they give it to Martinez. Straightaway 3. No good. No, wait. Yes! He hit it, and he's fouled. Oh, another rib forever. Whoa! Drake, Ian Martinez hits the 3. It bounced 6 times on the rim before finally falling through, and he has the free throw. Whoa! Wow! Unfreaking believable.
It was unfreaking believable. And it's interesting because I ended up posting my vantage point. I videoed it. And all of the play time from Allen getting the ball from the referee to Ian Martinez hitting the shot and it actually going down, it was about 15 seconds. But the video I posted was about 40 seconds long, mainly because I just sat there staring into the void, just like, what just happened? Like, I didn't know how to process what had just happened. Like, if the ball had just gone swish right through, they'd been like, oh, you made the shot. That was pretty cool. And, I would have just show the crowd and, whatnot, post a video. But it's like, it was just the weirdest thing where Ian puts the shot up and the whistle blows. And immediately say, I know exactly what, like, I wasn't even necessarily looking at, I didn't even know why Ian Martinez, like how it had gotten fouled. Replay showed Degenhart clipped Ian Martinez's leg. But you hear the whistle and you know exactly. And right in that moment, it's like, oh, the Aggies are going to get 3 free throws, a chance to, and it's Ian Martinez, 90%, finally somebody who can hit free throws is going to go to the line after the Aggies shot like 20% for the least late in the clutch. And so as that thought is processing through everyone's head, you see the ball claying off the rim. Well, shucks, the ball didn't go in. Then it bounces again. It's like, and then a third time. And then like right as it like started to kind of hang up there on the back iron, I was like, wait a minute. And it was just like, that's not actually going to go in, is it?
It seemed to take forever. A lot of shades of that Kawhi Leonard shot with the Toronto Raptors over the Sixers in the playoffs a couple of years ago. But, big moment for Ian Martinez. I mean, what a clutch player for Utah State. I mean, he came through in the clutch when they were in San Diego, really turned it on in the second half. And clutch shots, Saturday night in that game against Boise, because other guys were off, right? And they just didn't quite have it. They couldn't make a free throw to save their lives in the last couple minutes. But Ian Martinez, I mean, what a baller for Utah State. 5 for 7 overall from 3, and the 18 points. Surprised he wasn't named the conference player of the week for his efforts. I understand why Dent probably got it, but still, just what a performance by Ian Martinez, and what a great crowd in Logan. I mean, A++ on the student section, the overall fan experience. It's getting a lot of attention through the weekend and continuing today about that crowd and how electric it was in that game Saturday night.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I want to point out with Ian Martinez, it wasn't just the one 3-pointer he hit at the end that was kind of the massively clutch, because he hit a 3-pointer. The game was tied 68, and he hit a 3-pointer, and it was like a side end slightly backward, sidestep 3-pointer, late shot clock, fade away, buzzer for the shot clock goes off as he's getting it off, and just drills it from the right wing, puts the Aggies up 3. Then the Aggies actually ended up going down 76-72. They're down 4 points with 90 seconds to go. First possession right after going down 4 points, Ian Martinez hits a 3. Bam, it's a 1-point game, which was massive because you get one stop, which the stop ended up being Alvaro Cardenas missing 2 free throws, but you take what you take. The Aggies have been missing free throws. I guess it was Boise State's turn. But then Drake Allen puts the Aggies up. Cardenas comes back and makes a 3-pointer to set up that situation. And then another one. So it's 3 3-pointers that Ian Martinez hit in a 5-minute span that were all really clutch. And then, finishing with the 18 points overall to lead the Aggies. You mentioned 5 3-pointers, just absolutely went off. So just a very good game from him.
Yeah, I mean, the Aggies have been playing with fire for their last several games, but this is a clutch team, and they're finding ways to win. Even though they're not playing their best basketball, they're finding ways to win. And is it pretty? Is it perfect? No, but they're finding ways to win. They're not backing down or shriveling, and maybe they're not always performing at their best, but they're finding ways to win. Like, this is a team that, what was about 4 minutes left to go, 4:15. They hit 72 points, and they take the 2-point lead over Boise State. They don't score again until a minute 18. They go 3 minutes, like in the clutch, 3 minutes without scoring any points. And yet they still find a way to win the game. And that's great defense, not backing down, not shriveling under pressure, and still finding a way to get it done.
Well, and what was weird about that scoreless stretch is that I look on the stat broadcast and it shows recent trends, and I was seeing simultaneously Utah State has made It was either 7 of their last 8 or 8 of their last 9 field goals. They'd missed 1 field goal, out of their last 8 or 9 attempts. And then right under that, Utah State scoreless in the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I was like, that's weird to see, but it came down to missed free throws and some turnovers at the wrong time. Which kind of goes back to the fact that this is another one of those, it's like the San Jose State game. Like, this is remarkably similar in a lot of ways to the San Jose State game. Where, one, they both made 14 3-pointers, but it was also a game in which the Aggies just won because they were great on offense. Against San Jose State, they just outshot San Jose State. Now, in the end, they ended up playing some clutch defense. The Spartans ended up, what was the stat they put out? They missed most of their last 14, 15 shots, including going 0 for 8. So there's some of that, but the Aggies just shot incredibly well from the field overall. They didn't trail in that game for the final 25 minutes, despite giving up 14 threes. Boise State ends up taking a big lead because they're a lot better team than San Jose State. But the Aggies end up shooting 80% in the second half. The ugliness of this game was simply on the defensive side. Well, for both teams, to be quite frank. Because that's the one way. It's say Utah State just struggled on defense where they gave up tons of threes. And then in the second half, they were fouling a bit too much. But my goodness, shooting 80% in a half, I've seen teams shoot 50% in a half, 60% in a half, dang near 70% for a half. I don't know if I've ever seen a team shoot 80% in a half.
Yeah, that is bonkers. But what a lot of that is, Utah State, it was they would take threes when the opportunity presented itself. But the game plan appeared to be, for Utah State, we're going to attack the basket. We're going to attack the rim. And Boise's going to go out there and shoot threes, but it's almost as if the coaches were we've seen this pattern now a couple of games here where teams will start hitting threes, but Coach Calhoun and his staff is basically saying, we don't believe that you can sustain it. You might be able to get some shots earlier, but we don't believe that you can sustain it. So we're going to continue to attack the basket and get high percentage stuff at the rim. Eventually you're going to cool off. And that's almost the risk reward that they're playing right now in these last several games. Their other opposing teams are finding soft spots in the zone, the matchup zone, and they're getting 3-point looks. But the coaching staff has basically said, we don't think that you'll be able to sustain it. And so eventually you're going to cool off. Meanwhile, we're still going to do what we do in attacking the rim at higher percentage clip. Yeah, and eventually Boise State kind of cooled off. First half they shot 53% and they 60% from 3. And in the second half they go down to 52% and 45% from 3. So they kind of cooled off. And so in the end, I don't know if I can really credit this too much to defense. It just felt like the Aggies were just they won this game on offense. They went out there and said, I'm not going to miss a shot. We're going to miss 4 shots the entire half. I think people were pointing out it was the last 12 or 13 minutes or something like that. The Aggies missed 1 shot. So after the 12:56 mark, Mason missed a 3-pointer. At that point, the Aggies missed 1 shot the rest of the way. That is crazy. Yeah, just absolutely insane. And not all of those were, bunnies at the rim. There were some that were pretty contested shots. Yeah, Ian Martinez, he had one where he got fouled on it. He had one where it was a contested 3 on the wing. Late the shot clock. Yeah, late, just a bunch of different things, jump shots. Some shots at the rim, but they just went out there and were about as good on offense as we'll ever see them for an entire half. Let's get to the full court press text line. We've had a lot of these stacking up, so we want to make sure that we get to those. Starting with 2444, saying, man, life is good as an Aggie basketball fan. The number of incredible moments, games, seasons, and memories just over the past 5 years is just remarkable. So proud of the team for continuing to fight despite so many things going against them in that game. This team is special. Can't wait for Wednesday night. Man, amen. Yeah, what a great run, and I hope folks appreciate it. I know there's been a lot said about the changeover in coaches, but the team continues to play well. It's it's a basketball culture here. And so and we had this discussion last week about, is this a rebuilding year because there's a new coach and a significant number of players that are new to the roster. I think we need to, remove that word. And I think we came to the resolution that for Utah State, they don't rebuild, they just reload. Whether that's the roster or the coach, they just reload. And but great credit to Coach Calhoun and his staff for what they're doing. And even though they tried to make some adjustments, Boise came out firing, and they were hot to start the second half, but they didn't give up on those adjustments. And before long, Utah State was back into it. But it was largely because of some of the things they did do on defense, but offensively, they found ways to exploit what Boise was doing defensively.
Yeah, and I felt like Boise State just couldn't keep up. I felt like that early. Boise State's just not quick enough. They've got a lot of size, and by golly, they exploited that size because Utah State had some problems rebounding in that game. They struggled at time with defensive rebounding. Like at halftime, Boise State hadn't missed a whole lot, but like almost 40% of the shots they had missed, they got offensive rebounds on. Which is pretty bad for defensive rebounding rate. But it had, it's a double-edged sword. The Aggies were just way quicker, and they exploited that in a lot of different ways, and it created, a lot of open shots for them. 9-3-1-5 with a few texts saying, can we get a shout-out to cheese and wine because Boise State Donkey fans need it after the game. After that game. And then said Sam's shot is tied for number 1.
Yeah, and that was a great shot. But that was at the tournament. I'm just thinking of games in the spectrum.
Yeah, if we're looking at all-time shots, like, I don't know if anybody really tops Sam's shot there.
Right, just because what was on the line in that game and everything going on with it. But
yeah, looking at shots of the spectrum, there's not too many better. Darius Brown's might still be up there just because it sealed a Mountain West title. But Ian's is like the way it happened almost gives it, you get extra points for each bounce.
That's
whereas
true.
Darius's was just kind of the clean swish.
That's true. But as far as like the cheese and wine, I tend to forget until I see him again, but I tend to forget just how much Leon Rice works over the refs during the course of a game.
Yeah, he does.
It's like, okay, every coach is going to work over the refs a little bit, but this guy is incessant. And I saw some of the Boise beat writers like, oh, this crowd, they haven't seen a call they like. They're really giving it to the officials. It's starting to turn in Utah State's favor because of the crowd. It's like, well, what about Coach Rice and what he's been doing all game trying to work over the refs to get things in his favor? So it was fun. I love the student section, giving it to him and his players and his staff.
They still got they're continually upgrading the tantrum tracker. Like at one point it was just some dude with a poster board and tally marks. Now they got the full on like little flip.
Yeah,
flip
apparently,
numbers.
And somebody was making a donation to the local food pantry.
So that's why Leon's doing. He saw that and was like, "Oh, I got to go over to the refs.
That's right.
Got to donate to the local food pantry." But yeah, I know there was some complaining from Boise State about a 5-second call on that inbound. I know BJ Rains, he made 2 notes about it. Like he like retweeted I think my video and then like tweeted another video saying, "Here's another angle of what should have been a 5-second call." And I was like, really?
What about the over and back that should have happened? That didn't happen?
And to be honest, both were no calls for pretty much the same reason. I explained this to one fan where like I went and some fans were saying it was like 6 or 7 seconds. No, it wasn't that. Cause like I went and I pulled out my phone, pulled out the little timer and the stopwatch on my phone, watched the video, start it when Drake Allen, gets handed the ball, stop him when he lets go of it. To be fair to them, it was like 5.1, 5.2 seconds. Over 5 seconds, hand time, give or take, human error. But for the same reason that didn't get called and the over and back didn't get called, it's kind of the same reason like when you watch a football game, the play clock hits 0 and then they snap the ball. Referees just give that to you.
Yeah.
Heck, when I don't know if the way I do it is the same way other referees do it, but like when I used to referee high school basketball, I'd count to 5 and I'd be kind of slow, like 5 1,000
until you get to 6.
It's like, yeah,
you get the full length of that 5th second.
Yeah, and if they were on their way out, then it's like, okay, I'll give it to you. But yeah, if I and it's the same thing with like 3 seconds. If you go on any offensive possession, there's guys in there that are in there for like 3.5, 4 seconds, but they're on their way out and they don't call it. I know, I think it was Tom Moser or something like that. I meant to go follow up because he said something about how he talked to officials and they said that they wouldn't call it in that situation. I forgot to follow up because they said he would explain exactly why. But the 5-second call, it's not that much to complain about. But one thing that I will emphasize is I really hope Utah State fans don't at any point in the future say that they don't get a friendly whistle, that the referees are always against them. You don't get to say that after the last couple of years, given the friendly whistles the Aggies have had in certain situations. Like this year, that block charge call at San Diego State that probably should have gone the other way. The 5-second call, like it's pretty close, but the referee swallows his whistle, doesn't do anything with it. And mind you, I think Utah State fans would have maybe, at least I don't know the way the fans were acting, felt like they would have maybe blamed the refs. But I'll be honest, there were 2 or 3 times where Utah State committed what I thought were pretty obvious fouls and they got away with it. Not to say that Utah State was getting this giant, help from the officials, because I thought there were some that were iffy toward Boise State, but like the whole discussion with the referee is always interesting because it usually evens out. But even then, I think Utah State's been getting a friendlier whistle lately. Yeah. So I hope Aggie fans don't get like tunnel vision and forget the amount of times, everything evens out. And lately you've been getting a pretty friendly whistle. Like you go back to the UNLV game last year and just a bunch of different things where they're getting a friendlier whistle than sometimes you might remember. That's kind of the key.
Yeah, probably a little bit more often than not. But you know what? I just thought it was high level basketball from both teams. Like that was a good game from Boise. Like we've seen some games where Aggies just weren't playing very well and the opponents were hot, but it wasn't. I mean, it was kind of sloppy, but to get away with a win. There was some high level basketball, some great individual performances, some great adjustments by coaches. That was a great performance on national TV for Utah State and the Mountain West.
Yeah, it was a Mountain West classic.
Yes.
Both teams playing exceptionally well. Probably those two teams, probably their best offensive games of the season, or dang near close. We got to take a break. We got a lot more texts coming in, so we will get to those on the other side of this break here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
Happy winter. This is Mark at the Sportsman on Main Street, where we make winter fun. We are your ski, snowboard, snowshoe, and cross-country ski rental shop. Come in and rent for the day or longer and have a great time outside. We also have great deals on new skis, boots, bindings, underwear, and outerwear, so you are comfortable playing in the snow. See the Sportsman for the best deals, the best service, and most unique products you will find for the outdoors. Only at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan.
A mouth-watering Cafe Sabor burrito, smothered in cheese and fresh guacamole with endless chips and salsa, plus your favorite drink, all for just $7.95. It's Locals Day at Cafe Sabor. Every Thursday, the drinks are bottomless, the chips and salsa are endless, and the burritos are amazing, all for just $7.95. There's nothing better. It's Cafe Sabor's way of saying thanks, Cache Valley. Don't miss Locals Day every Thursday at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station, 6th West and Center in Logan.
It's never too cold or wet to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash for the holidays by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
S.E. Needham Jewelers is where Utah gets engaged. We offer a large selection of personalized service and extraordinary benefits with our integrity price guarantee. At Match Quality, you'll find our prices to be as low or lower than any store in the state. We consistently beat any 50 to 70% off sales, internet pricing, or so-called wholesale deals. In fact, we even price our diamonds at internet pricing. So you'll get S.E. Needham quality at internet prices. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Now here's a concept. You earmark 1/3 of your profits to go back into the community, to local charities. Dex Imaging does that. My name is Anthony Wagoner, and I'd like to share with you what I know about Dex, the company that acquired Valley Office Systems. Dex Imaging is committed to continuing quality customer service while raising the bar to become a strong community partner. Join us in creating the brightest image for tomorrow. Contact us at deximaging.com.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Continuing to react to the Utah State win over Boise State this past Saturday, 81-79. The final there, Ian Martinez getting fouled, completing a 4-point play. It didn't really matter that he got the 4-point play, just raised the Aggies score by one more.
Yeah.
Because Boise State ended up taking a 3-pointer. That's the shot they had open. Alvaro Cardenas, who'd hit a go-ahead 3-pointer the possession before for Boise State, but couldn't get that one to go. So the Aggies escaped. And I tell you what, I just had a feeling, maybe just kind of a pessimistic tendency where it's just like, yeah, it would just be the way things go that Boise State goes down, hits a 3-pointer in the final 7.3 seconds. Like it would just like that would just be the way it would have to go, right? Like that's just
as many threes that they've been hitting on the night.
What's one more?
Yeah.
They'd shot 14 of 25 to that point. Why not another? But it didn't go. I can't remember if it was Drake Allen or Carson Templin who contested it at the end. They just made it a lot harder. Obviously made sure they didn't foul.
Yeah, Drake was right on top of it. In fact, we have the final call.
Oh yes, we do have the final call.
Listen.
Yeah, let's hear how those final
Scott Gerard's call on KVNU on Saturday night.
Yeah, the final 7.3 seconds there.
Free throw by Ian is good. All right, here we go. Inbound to Cardenas. Cardenas working right to left. Leaves it to Bowie. Bowie to Cardenas. Cardenas for the win. Shoots. No good. Utah State wins. Utah State has won it. 81-79. Pandemonium here in Logan. Utah State has won this game, and I'm not exactly sure how. We said weird things happen when these two teams play. It happened tonight.
Yeah, very fitting.
There is a weird history, yes.
Yeah, there definitely is there. So, just in Pandemonium, obviously, like, it was just crazy. I mean, I told some of the Utah State people after the game, it's like, y'all owe me a new pair of eardrums. Just as loud as it gets. I know it's not like the loudest because a lot of times people go back to the Nevada game way back when the Aggies went on like a big run at the end to kind of pull away, and that's where they say that's the loudest, where it's like it almost hurt with how loud it was. But dang, it at one point, I think it was when Ian hit the 3-pointer at the end of the shot clock, I literally just covered my ears because I was like, it's too loud in here. I just can't. Maybe I'm getting old, but it's just like, hold on, I got to cover my ears real quick. That's just too loud. Because I sit right in front of the student section, which makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because that's the loudest people. Just absolutely getting in there. We had a lot more texts we wanted to get to as well, starting with 5860. Saying, I was screaming at the screen about the free throws. My 11-year-old son went 75% from the line in his game in the morning on Saturday. They did not deserve to win that. Yeah, I shoot like 65% from the line, typically. And the Aggies couldn't. They shot 45% as a team. Mind you, a lot of that, and a lot of people have pointed this out, is two players that were unfortunately responsible for that. Not Ian. He only took one free throw and he made it. Mason Falslev went 1 for 7. Abin Gadarazzi went 0 for 4.
And at the most inopportune times.
Yeah, he went 0 for 4 in the span of about 2 seconds because he got fouled, went 0 for 2. Mason got a rebound, back to Abin, gets fouled again, goes 0 for 2 again. So those two accounted for, 10 of the 12 missed free throws? Drake Allen went 1 for 3. So, outside of those 3, the Aggies were a perfect 10 for 10, or a 9 for 9, 8. Yeah, 8 for 8, excuse me. Mason and Drake did make a couple of free throws, but because Ian goes 1 of 1, Dayton goes 3 of 3, Dexter goes 2 of 2, even Carson went 2 of 2. So, but the thing is, you got to make free throws, and that's something that's kind of a bit of frustration. Calhoun just after the game said that Mason's got the yips, because this is a thing that's been going on. I think in the middle of the game there were a few missed free throws that came after this, but I think I noted that Mason had missed 4 of his last 19. Which I think went up to 4 of his last 21. Or he was 4 for his last 21, excuse me. Or something to that effect. Dating back about 4 or 5 games now. Which is weird because at one point I think he was shooting in the 70s this season from free throws. But just can't make it work right now. But we'll see if he can find a way to get through it. 8968 with a couple of texts saying, I read a Deseret News article about the Utah State coaching situation in the past few years. It said despite 4 new coaches in 7 years and losing most of the roster in the last 3 years, Utah State is winning games at an alarming rate. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the least bit alarmed. Go Aggies. It's just choice of words there.
Yeah. We get it because there's a strong culture here, but we have to keep reminding people this is not normal. This is not normal. This does not happen anywhere.
Yeah, people keep obsessing over this. Every time a new TV guy comes in to call an Aggie game, they point it out. Every time a national person talks about it, they point it out. The people down in Salt Lake, they're just now kind of rediscovering it. We have TV crews coming in here for the first or second time this year asking about it again. It's because it's not supposed to happen. There had been, people have gone over, the history of sports, things people study that, and they tend to find things like experience and continuity have a huge impact on winning. And the Aggies, in a lot of cases, sometimes they'll have experience, but they have almost zero continuity, and they still go out there and they win. It's not supposed to happen, but it is.
Yeah, well, did you see Tim Olson shared this on social earlier today. I saw it when the report came out, but The Athletic put together something about Utah State being in their top 25. They listed the Aggies at 25 this week, though the AP poll put them at 22. But they had a little nugget about Utah State in the Mountain West. And what they did is they showed the Mountain West Conference record of the 5 best teams in the Mountain West over the last 5 seasons. Boise State had the best record, 59-21, followed by San Diego State, Utah State, Colorado State, and Nevada. I'm not going to go through all the records, but then the follow-up is 4 of those teams have not had a coaching change during that time. During the last 5 seasons, 4 of those 5 teams have had their same head coaches. And Utah State stands alone, where they're in their 4th coach in 5 seasons. It is an anomaly. And I get it. Maybe some Aggie fans are getting tired of this being brought up. Just did you know Mason Falslev played football?
Wait, what?
But
just like Raleigh Wooster.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Or Cooper Lega was a wrestler and did all these other things in track. But this is a great story, and great stories will be shared and retold. Let's not get frustrated by that. Let's get excited by that. Let's celebrate that. Let's not talk down to those who are just discovering this. Let's be excited with them and invite them to recognize the great culture that's been here for a long time and continues to go forward.
And get them in the Spectrum. I know I heard that Andy Katz apparently hadn't been to the Spectrum. It's they're going to have to change that soon. He just barely had his first conversation with Jared Calhoun earlier today. 896 also texting and saying, I've seen a lot of good wins, but I don't think any better. Something has got to be done about the other team's 3-point shooting, especially in the first half. Yeah, that's something Jared Calhoun, I asked him after the game. I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to look at that. He was like, yes. The one game against San Jose State, that's an anomaly. Back to back, that's something you got to work on. And I was working on going back and looking at Boise State's 3-pointers, because I think one thing that may be happening is the Aggies aren't contesting 3-pointers as well as they have. They just played two teams that combined shot like 30% from 3. And I think they were kind of banking on, maybe the players were just kind of banking on them missing, and they let some players shoot, and they got hot. And then they stayed hot pretty much the entire game. San Jose State kind of cooled off at the end, but Boise State never really cooled off that much. So I think that was something I want to look at, is how well the Aggies contest, because that might be it. Where they're leaving, like the left Tyson Degenhardt just like wide open for his first 2 or 3 3-pointers. And he drilled all of them. He
got just about anything he wanted in that first half of the first half.
Yeah. So I think that may have something to do with it, but excuse me, I haven't gone over the film. That's just kind of what I suspect at the moment, having not had a chance to rewatch the full game just yet. 6543 saying, just as the rooster crows every morning, when the pressure is on, count on Boise State to choke. Great win for the Ags. They will dominate this conference, but as a whole, this conference is fading fast. Some bracketology sites have the Mountain West as a one-bid conference. Guess there will be several teams in the NIT this year. Yeah, I think you're going to see several teams in the NIT. I think the Mountain West will be a 2-bid conference, but like right now, I would presume.
I think there'll be a 3-bid conference.
That's possible. New Mexico's got some work to do.
Right. I think New Mexico helped themselves on Saturday. San Diego State is still in the running, even though they've struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
But Boise State could still be there.
They could. Like, if New Mexico or Boise State wins the conference tournament, I think they'll be a 3-bid. I think right now, the way things are going, and a lot could change over the next 14 conference games for everybody. But, if they're a 2-bid conference, then New Mexico, Boise State, probably Nevada and Colorado State, you're all looking at those as decent candidates for the NIT. But yeah, I think the conference is getting slightly better because Colorado State and New Mexico are on the rise.
Yes.
So I think the conference could be getting a little bit better here. I know they're all playing each other now, so it's hard to say just how good they are. But I like where a couple of teams are trending, where some of the teams are trending up. Some of them are trending down. UNLV's, trending a bit down. San Diego State took a bit of a downturn with New Mexico. Boise State, bit of a downturn with the loss to Utah State. But I don't know if I'd say it's fading fast, but obviously there is a concern over the fact that Mountain West isn't. No one was expecting them to match 6 bids last year, but they're not even close. And I think that's kind of the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Is they're nowhere close to it.
That's fair.
5662 saying Leon is a baby who calls a timeout just to complain to the refs. He doesn't even coach his team. The ball ref had many bad calls. Seems like he wanted to tee up Calhoun when Calhoun was finished with him, grabbed him and got in his face.
He didn't. It's hard to say what a coach or what a referee may have wanted to do, but he didn't.
Yeah. I felt like the referees handled it fairly well. There were a couple times I thought they were going to give a tech to Leon, because you could tell there were a couple of times they were fed up with Leon. Like, Leon would be like saying something to him, and the referee was just like, not even transparently, just full on like, I'm not going to acknowledge you for a second here because I just want to get away. There were a few. Sometimes they, go up to him and talk to him, but there were a few times where they're just like, I'm not dealing with your bull crap right now, Leon. So I feel like they handled it pretty well. I thought the referees did a pretty good job for the most part. 7994. So I rewatched the game yesterday. I agree that Boise had some calls in their favor, but I also agree that we got some calls. It turns out that 3-point shooting and free throw shooting were keys to the game. Once again, this team shows real grit to get the win. On a related note, the national coverage on CBS Sports Network was more positive on USU than I expected. Yeah, I think the storyline of the 4 coaches in 5-6 years, whatever the exact number is, the still winning, that's something that I think captures the mind of the broadcasters who like to tell stories. And since they're not playing a power conference team, that helps too, because then they don't have a power conference team to latch on to and openly root for.
Yeah,
so
true.
You don't get that as much. Though obviously I didn't listen to the broadcast. I'll rewatch the game, so I might hear some of it. Though again, I usually watch the games on mute, so I usually don't get a comment on the broadcast very much.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good broadcast. They did a solid job calling it for both teams. Not like that game on FS1 that I watched a little bit ago with New Mexico and Nevada. That was definitely one-sided. But yeah, I thought that was a good broadcast, and the crowd showed out, and they loved highlighting the crowd as much as the team.
Yeah. A few texts from 9315. Then we're going to go to a break. I think 4 of them, right? So it says the big thing is if your team is good, it doesn't matter what the refs call or do, you can still win. Yeah, that's obviously if you can control what you can control, you're very likely to win. Also saying this was the Donkeys' best game, and the Aggies played very average, so it makes me feel better when USU goes to Boise. The Aggies played average on defense. They did not play average on offense.
They were excellent on offense.
Yeah. But I do agree that this was Boise State's probably their best game. Of course, it wasn't their best game on defense either. So, both teams played a fairly bad game on defense and one of their best games on offense. But I do think part of this stands because, is Boise going to hit 15 or 14 threes against the Aggies again? I don't think so. But keep in mind, are the Aggies going to shoot 80% from the field in the second half? I think that's the biggest thing. When you say, oh, you did this at home or you did this on the road, that means you're automatically going to beat them in the next place because you assume everything that went well for a team, went well for the opponents, is not going to stay there. Every outlier for them will go away. But every good thing that happened to you will happen again. It's kind of I think there should be a name for that kind of fallacy where it's you assume everything that went bad will get fixed and everything that went good will stay good. It's not always the case. But the Aggies are a good team. I think they'll be able to figure it out. And then it says 9 through 5 again. You would think with all the TV and sports coverage, because of what we have done with new coaches, we should be well known by every kid under any hiding spot in the world, and also would help with drumming up funds to help sports and players. Well, the program is growing, and part of the reason why Utah State continues to be good is because they do have that reach. They keep finding great coaches and great players from all over the world. And then also saying we are playing so well right now as fans in the spectrum that even BYU fans are noticing and trying to downplay it. We all know that doesn't work. Now, they don't want to come up here.
Yeah, right on cue. As soon as attention pivots to Logan or somewhere else, then their fan base is like, oh, wait a minute. We need all the attention down here.
But 5-star recruit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do need to take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue. We got another text coming in, I believe. I think I might have missed this one, but we'll continue to get to those texts, continue to react to the Aggies win over Boise State here on the Full Court Press.
Looking for the perfect cure for those post-holiday blues? The Riverwoods Conference Center is hosting a dinner and comedy night with Dave Burley on Sunday, January 26th from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. Enjoy a night of gut-busting laughs with clean comedian Dave Burley. His jokes are so funny you'll need a napkin for the tears, not the ribs. Speaking of ribs, you'll be feasting on a gourmet buffet of mouth-watering baby back ribs, flavorful chicken paprika, and more. Food, fun, and fabulous comedy. What more could you ask for? That's Sunday, January 26th. For tickets, visit theriverwoods.com or call 750-5151.
Happy New Year! You survived the holidays. This is Jarek at Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Did you meet the family during the holidays? How was that? Is it time to go engagement ring shopping? Valentine's Day is coming, but why wait? Do it now. Bring her in and view our collection of over 3,000 rings. With many of them being our own custom designs, I know we will find the perfect one. At Jarek's Fine Jewelry, we make it special. So come make it Jarek.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special. Make it Jarek's.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. It's just another way we install confidence. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Les Olson IT structured cabling is second to none. Tired of old and inefficient cabling? Have an upgrade or remodel planned? Building a new network from the ground up? We offer the very best in low voltage cabling installation, including data, phone, fiber optic, and more. Ask us how to get your free consultation today.
Les Olson IT.
Adams Wealth Advisors' entire team says, thank you, Cache Valley, for voting them the best financial planner in the Best of Northern Utah competition. Honesty and integrity is the hallmark of Adams Wealth Advisors. Let them earn your trust today.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind, whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit adamswealthadvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today. Please see adamswealthadvisors.com for more information on these recent awards.
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wee's T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
Four 339-0321. That's the number to text in to join the Full Court Press text line. We got to catch up and have a bit of a short segment, but 5662, we missed this text earlier, so thanks for giving us the heads up, the reminder to read this, especially because it was something that I feel like was another's kind of really cool point in the game. That's the text saying, Drake Allen's layup and one was huge, so loud in there, couldn't even hear the whistle. Great time to be an Aggie fan. Also saying, I hope Coach Calhoun and Coach Hott can figure out something to tweak the zone, protect the corner three. Here's to hoping the team has enough in the tank for UNLV before the bye. Go Aggies. Yeah, the and one, like a lot of people obviously kind of had the same experience as me, where when Drake Allen hit that layup, I think I looked down at my notes or something. The crowd got really loud. And then I look up and Drake Allen was, yelling and doing a bit of a pose after that. And I was like, why is he doing that? You can get back on defense. Like, what?
Yeah, it was so loud we couldn't hear the whistle.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden everyone's stopping. I'm like, what just happened? And then I turned to a couple of the other beat writers next. Was there a whistle? Was there a foul? Yeah, it's like I literally just did not hear the whistle. And a lot of fans said that too. Like, so few people actually heard the whistle. Drake was probably right next to it, and so he obviously heard it because he stopped playing.
Yes.
And celebrated what was obviously a great play that kind of ended up getting overlooked because Cardenas hit the 3-pointer for the go-ahead, and then Ian Martinez obviously stole the show at the end there. But yeah, Drake, taking the lead at that point was obviously huge because it put the pressure on Boise to make a shot of their own. I think Drake hit his with like 45 seconds left. So like it was a situation where Boise State couldn't take the last shot. They had to do something, and then the Aggies got to respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the, with maybe tweaking the zone, something to protect the 3-point line. I know they've gone to man a couple of times. They did go to man against Boise State at times, which just had me worried because I felt like Tyson Dagenhart was probably a big reason why it was a bit sketchy to go to zone or to go to man, because I don't feel like the Aggies would have had a great matchup because they were playing two bigs most of the game, like out of Omar Stanley or one of their other bigs. So Tyson Dagenhart would have been matched up against someone like Dexter O'Connell or Tucker Anderson for a lot of the game. Isaac Johnson was out sick. So I think it would have been really tricky for them to go to man. They did do it at some point, and they didn't get burned because like Tyson Dagenhart had 22 points, but 15 of those were on 3-pointers. And I think another 3 or 4 were on free throws. He didn't do the damage in the post I thought he might have a chance to.
Right. Well, and a lot of what he did came early in the game.
Yeah.
And he kind of struggled later in the game.
Yeah, I didn't do as much later in the game. Didn't have as much damage.
But just quickly, I know we need to hit a break here, but just looking over the record so far, Utah State is 9-1 in games decided by 7 points or less. And in those games, 5 of those 10 teams in those games shot 35% or better from 3. And it's a particular note what's happened in just the last 3 games. Fresno, they shot 35%. San Jose shot 42, almost 42.5. And then Boise shot 53% from three. So our team's starting to figure something out against Utah State's zone because they're shooting a higher volume of threes and starting to make a higher volume of threes against the Aggies lately.
Yeah, it's something that they'll certainly take a look at in film and in practice. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll close out the first hour here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Did you know Daryl's technicians are factory authorized and trained to do your warranty work? This is Jay with Daryl's. Our repairmen have access to the largest parts department in northern Utah. That means we often get repair done the first visit. Schedule your appliance repair today to lock in your no-risk service. If you want new instead, you can apply your trip charge to an appliance purchase. See store for details. Daryl's west on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Whether you're a farmer working the fields, a homeowner tackling weekend projects, or a contractor building the next big thing, you need a Kubota machine that works as hard as you do. And Cash Equipment is home to all your Kubota equipment, service, and parts needs. From plowing fields and clearing land to digging trenches and moving material. Come see why Cash Equipment and Kubota are the choice of champions on the farm, at home, and on the job site. Cash Equipment in Hyde Park and online at cashequipment.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. This is a story that came to us from a real customer, and I wanted to share it with you.
I'm a new CPAP user. The only thing I knew about CPAP when I walked in the door was that I didn't want to wear one. The introductory class with the respiratory therapist at Alpine was great. I left feeling confident and less intimidated by the whole process.
We love hearing about your experiences. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank, and we understand that concerns about fraud can weigh heavily on you. Your peace of mind is important to us. That's why we're committed to looking out for you and your family. Our team keeps a vigilant eye on your account, and if you ever have concerns or need support, we're just a call or visit away. Whether you need advice or just someone to talk to, our friendly staff is ready to help. We're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors, and we care about your security. Visit your local branch today. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
They never could play it, but they sure can talk about it. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker on the Full Court Press.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen. Just a reminder, we got to remind you about Napa Auto Parts. Your locally owned Preston of Providence Napa Auto Parts supplies I can't read today, Eric. They supply parts to over a dozen local Napa Auto Care Centers. You can trust and count on their ASE certified mechanics. For anything from oil changes to major repair, take it to one of these Napa Auto Care Centers. There's A1 Automotive in Logan, Aaron's Elite Auto Service also in Logan. They got Master Mechanic in Providence, Randy's Service Center in Richmond. Bunch of different places all up and down the valley that you can go to. So real quick, want to finish off the first hour talking about the Utah Jazz. Eric, they screwed up again.
I know.
They won.
What are they doing?
They're supposed to be tanking, and although by golly did they try. They tried their darndest to lose the game against the Brooklyn Nets. Not necessarily what happened in the game, but what they did before the game. Because you had your starting lineup of Colin Sexton, Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Drew Eubanks, and Micah Potter. It's like, what the heck? Did they just send their G League team out there, plus Colin Sexton, I guess?
Pretty close.
Yeah, like you're playing Cody Williams and Colin Sexton 38 minutes apiece. Like, yeah, I think they were trying to lose this game. But, in the bright side, it's one of those games where, like, hey, it was some of the young guys balling out because, Bryce Enzabal, he had 16 points. Kyle Filipowski had 12. And the star of the night, Isaiah Collier, going for 23 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds, and only 2 turnovers. So some big play from him.
Yeah, a little bit of a scary moment where he kind of got his feet out from underneath him as he went for a big shot or at the rim and kind of came down, bumped his head. Went into a slight concussion protocol, but he was able to get back into the game and eventually hits the game winner. But, we've been a little bit on Collier that he's a good distributor, but he's not a good shooter. He's not a good scorer. And if he could unlock that, if he could improve that potential, then he could be a legitimate NBA starting point guard. Well, Sunday, he showed that he does have that potential.
Yeah, and it's the kind of, I talk about seeing flashes of brilliance from players, and we saw that. He was efficient and productive, and that's exactly what you want to see out of a rookie, and you want to see more of that. So maybe he can have a much better second half of the season. I don't know if he's going to have as big of a role because, eventually they're going to play their veterans. They won't try and completely tank this season away. But it was a very nice thing to see. We'll go into the second hour. Real quick, we'll talk about a lot of football, college football playoff, NFL, and Utah State.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The NFL has become an offensive-minded league. In order to take full advantage of the league's favoritism, offensive-minded head coaches have been all the rage the last decade. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, all examples of young offensive minds who got a shot early due to the league's obsession with that side of the ball. But when you look at the current playoff picture, the young offensive mind is far from the only blueprint for success. Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh, never offensive or defensive coordinators, and they became head coaches. Their two teams have combined for a 27-7 record this season. D'Amico Ryans, Dan Quinn, Sean McDermott, all defensive specialists. All three coaches had their teams moving on. So while high-scoring offenses may have been all the rage, when you look at the teams who have found success this season, there's far more ways to win than just attaching yourself to the next great offensive mind. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.